Mega is an improvised satire from the staff of a fictional megachurch. Well, just like Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life, our guest today is the way, the truth, and the live stream, folks. I am so tickled to introduce your friend and mine, Peter McDowell. How you feeling today, Peter?
Hey, great, Holly. Great to see y'all. This is so fun. It's so fun to see you guys. It's so much fun to be here live in person. I'll tell you what, it's nice to see y'all up close. You know, I see everyone on a 2D screen, so it's nice to be you're around
in person. Yeah, here, let me give you a godly hug. Here, I'll give you a godly embrace.
Okay, come on, Gray. Give me a hug now, too. I'll take a hug from you. Come here.
Okay.
Come here.
Okay.
You're firm. Who's been working out? You've been working out.
Yeah,
this is fun.
But please, ow. Okay.
Sorry, I like to poke. I'm a poker.
I know. Yeah, you are a poker. Do you tickle? I love it when people tickle.
Do you like that?
Well, I love it
when you tickled me. It was kind of a pinch just then, and that's what I was saying.
It's a firm tickle. It's a specific tickle. You know, I don't like a generic tickle because it lacks intention, and I use intention with every step of my life. So,
man, that's awesome. And I'll tell you what, I grew up in an America where you could hold a kid down and tickle them till they couldn't breathe. Now kids want to have autonomy of their bodies or whatever. I don't understand a word of it, but it was better back then.
Used to be a rite of passage. My uncles I had 4 uncles. They do two legs, 2 arms, hand on each, lay me down like I was on like a medieval stalk or something, and the ants would come in. The uncles would hold me down. The ants would tickle me, It was really fun. That's the kind of stuff we used to do. I miss it.
You had an uncle on each arm and leg, and then the ants would do the tickling?
Yeah. Well, you don't want the men to do the tickling. I don't.
Right. How many ants did you have?
I had 4 ants. 4 uncles, 4 ants. Yeah.
Oh, wow. 8 people to tickle one child. That is a lot.
It was fun. We had a lot of cousins too. So it was an activity. We used to do it at every reunion, every kind of hangout. It was called the Tickle Station. It was right next to the food, right next to the stage for the talent show. They loved to do it. And it's been a long tradition. So we always been doing it. So.
And see, kids nowadays, they're stuck to screens. They're not touching, they're being physical anymore. I mean, but your whole life is now screens. Am I right?
It's a blessing and a curse. Yeah, the thing that's drawn people away from being tickled is this thing that I'm actively being a part of. So don't think that don't weigh on me, but I don't think what I'm up to is a replacement for tickling. In many ways, what I'm up to is can be accompany tickling. It be a part of it. I think it's important. Live streaming, getting our word across the world, across the country. Twin Hills is streaming in 48 countries. Awesome. And I'm so grateful for that. The messages that Pastor Steve is sending out throughout the entire world. I mean, Can you imagine,
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And I do want to get into that because we are in 48 countries. And I think that is such a mark of a successful live stream. And I've always wondered, why aren't we in all the countries? Because that is something when you are the live announcer over the live stream, and sometimes when I've been tuning in on vacation and whatnot, you'll say live streaming in 48 countries, and I
didn't say that. Live streaming in 48 countries. Yeah.
It's Twin Hills Community Church.
Yeah, of course.
Featuring, and then you go through all the, the featured cast. You go through the.
I do that.
Obviously,
of course.
Steve is always the host.
Look, I'm a huge fan of this television show. It's called Saturday Night Live. I don't know if y'all have seen it.
Oh, cool.
I'm a huge fan of it. It's a show that goes on every Saturday night, and I've been watching it every single week, since I was knee high to a bug's eye. I've been watching it forever. And you guys got to have you heard of it? Seen it?
I'm familiar with it, but I just and it's a comedy program, right?
Well, it's a comedy program, an event that happened this week. You better keep your eye out on their opinions. And because they're always going to be talking about it in some way or another, and people are playing characters that might be real people, and presidential characters and whatnot. It's really
impressions,
fun. Impressions,
remember when we did Sunday Night Live? Are they basically copying what we did?
Probably.
I think they might. I to be honest, I was involved with Sunday Night Live, and I was doing some digital stuff for it, filming it and whatnot, and I was using some inspiration from Saturday Night Live. Live. So I didn't tell anybody about that, and I hope Saturday Night Live doesn't hear about it, because that is something that I did steal some ideas. But the main theme of what we do for the church every Sunday is I certainly am doing that. But yeah, my inspiration for what I've been doing for the beginning of these services is, of course, doing the intro, and I introduce all the cast that might be on the show and some featured players, and I mentioned you guys a couple times. It's hard to know how far it goes. Sometimes I get deep into who's in accounting and who's who's ushering, and it's just hard to draw the line. And when do I stop introducing people who are involved in the service?
That's right. So just back to my original question: why only 48 countries? Why can't we get this live stream into
I bet some countries don't even have Wi-Fi.
Oh, I see.
That's
like
a
these
good point.
tribal countries, they have spears and swords in the Amazon, and they don't have internet, I think.
Hallie, that's exactly what my mentality is for it. And also, Gray, I want to emphasize, I drew you a 0 and you're looking at the hole in the middle. When you buy donuts, are you worried about you're missing some? 48 is a lot. Yeah. More than one is a lot, is what we kind of see. So it's a challenge. Is the language barrier. I think if we could commit a little bit more to translators, we would be able to spread. But we are experiencing a little bit of difficulty with hiring people that would be able to translate at such a fast rate. And Pastor Steve is actually a little bit averse to AI. I don't know if you've talked to him about it, but he is nervous about AI. He believes it is in many ways sinful. And it's hard for me to talk to him about it, because translation is kind of one of the easiest ace in the holes when it comes to AI. And he's not too into it.
That's right. I mean, I remember Steve talking about this in his message the other week, which was, how do you know the AI is saved? And if it is intelligent, it's going to need to be saved. And
we don't have any long-term studies yet of whether or not AI is sensitive to the movings of the Holy Spirit. Exactly. We don't know if AI considers the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit whispers quietly to our hearts and says, you know what, break up with your boyfriend. That's what God wants, stuff like that. Since we don't know that AI is necessarily sensitive to the Holy Ghost yet, we might just need to wait and see. And I wanted to ask you, because I love your announcer voice. I really do, Peter. And I know a lot of times in your vocation, they call your role when you do that, they call it the voice of God. And I was wondering, is that hard? Does it give you a God complex?
I have struggled with it at times. And I find in my life, when I'm lacking control, I tend to use that as a moment of control. Yep. I tend to use that as, well, I'm not, the thing I ordered on Amazon is 3 days late, so I'm going to go in and I'm going to act like I'm in control of this. I've had to really take care. And sometimes I do ask for things in that voice to see if it'll do things for me,
Cool. Yeah.
Customer service, I'll call someone, I'll call Disneyland being like, I would like a fast pass, and it doesn't do much, and it causes a pause and from the other person. Yeah. So it's a give and take, I like to be humble about it. I like to say I have the voice of God. Yeah. But the voice of God is not something that I own.
And the Bible tells us that with great power comes great responsibility. Isn't that
exactly. Right? That's everyone's saying that in the Bible. I feel like every single character is saying that kind of thing.
It's Old Testament, it's New Testament.
Everyone in New Testament, Old Testament, all the ones they're finding recently. Have y'all heard about some of the new ones they're finding?
Oh, really?
There's some new books. I saw this article. I was reading a pop culture article, and there was a little thing on the bottom that said new Bible verses found, and I clicked it and gave my computer a virus. And
is that right?
It is. So you got to be careful about that. So that might have been the devil. We don't know. There's a lot of, you speak about AI and the demonry of it all, and what's going on, and who's really in there, and is AI translating in good faith? We don't know. Right. And it is scary. A lot of the internet is not in good faith. I don't know if you heard about the dark web. It certainly ain't the light web.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get the light web going.
I heard about that. Yeah, you were talking about that the other day, that you wanted a Christian version of the internet called the light web.
Yeah, the Christian dark web is the light web, and I'm really trying to get the light web going.
So you're going on the light web to essentially get the Christian like items and content that essentially is like.
If you're going on the dark web to get guns, drugs, human trafficking, right? You're getting the opposite on the light web. You're getting praise. You're getting positivity. You're getting kind messages, and of course, you're even being able to buy wholesale things you might need at a church, like the communion wafers and wine and chairs and stools and pews, all that stuff. So it's
amazing.
Yeah, it's called the light web. Right now, it's currently a website, but I'm trying to make it a whole state of mind. I don't know how to transfer and turn it into an area past it being a website. That's kind of where does it turn into an area versus a website?
Where does a website end and the internet begin? I've never really understood that, how you put a bunch of them together, because it's kind of just like, what is it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is it like a country? Is it like the United States where you divide it up? But really, when you look at it on the map, there's no lines there. So
exactly. And this is the kind of thing, when I start talking about it, I like to say it gives me head mud, where all of a sudden I'm just full of something in there. And I just say, I can't even think. I don't even know where it starts and begins. And there's so many confusing things. All I can do is be a soldier for our church and soldier for our Lord. And know where I'm translating it and know where I'm broadcast. Here's my path. You know, I'm on the Silk Road of information, but I got one path. I'm taking this saffron, which is our message of the church, from the Far East to the Middle East, and that's how I feel about it.
Well, I think on the dark web too, there's probably a lot of very wicked porno, and so the light web should have whatever is the opposite of dirty porno. We should have on the light web. You could have a ton of content that's like, what would the opposite of dirty porno be? Maybe we do a lot of videos of very wholesome couples having a Bible study.
You read my mind. Yeah, I've been working on some of that too, and I love, Hallie, I'd love your input on some of that, because we have some light web videos that we haven't figured out the opposite of porno yet, kind of linguistically. So I'm open if you guys are open for that. But
you could even have maybe real attractive looking girls, like the women who are the newscasters on Fox News, like girls who look like that.
Exactly.
And they have
classic beauties, like on Fox News.
Classic beauties, and they have a webcam, and they'll read any Bible verse you pay for, you personally over the web.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Like that. Well, we can do that on the streams. Yeah,
so that would be cool.
And that's what, because there's a thing that, and I've seen this on the dark web. I have to research everything, called the cam girls, right? There's girls that OnlyFans, and OnlyFans is very interesting, because people are getting on there and say, I'll kiss this other woman for $25, live in front of you.
The heart of God.
It hurts to hear and it hurts to see, and I'll tell you, I think we could do some of that, and I think we can do some holy fans, and I've been trying to talk to Pastor Steve about that. Holy fans, I think, could be a really beautiful place where you could get on, and I really need to hear this verse right now, just like you said, Hallie. Pay $25. I really need to see somebody, cut open a cake that has a man and a woman, a wedding cake on top of it. Just cut it open, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I bet foot washing videos would do great on there.
Well, and that's something that's been just religious since day one. That's so Christ-like, and foot washing is something we could really do.
Since Mary Magdalene leaned down in front of Jesus, poured some cologne on his tootsies, and wiped it down with her long golden locks of hair.
That's right. Yeah. Well, I do want to get back into the live stream for a second, because something that a lot of people don't know is that our live stream has upwards of 30, 40 cameras. And when you see you back there switching, calling the live stream switch, Hallie, isn't it like it's like he's playing a piano? You are switching from camera to camera so quickly.
Yep.
At this point, we've got a camera. Maybe tell us a little bit about where we have cameras now, because we've definitely got one. This one, a new one that's in Steve's podium, that's looking kind of like straight up.
His nose
podium cam, and that's specifically for moments where he kind of likes to look down, and we call that the catch breath cam, because we just never want to lose sight of what's really going on with Steve. And that's been amazing with what we've been doing with these cameras, because there used to be a moment where, you know, it would be far away. I started watching live streams before I was even part of this. I was of course a child of the congregation, and I was away in college, and I'd say, I need to watch church. I need to watch my service. And I think there was one camera set up very far away.
And what year would this have been that you were in college?
Oh gosh, that must have been right at the advent of kind of streaming and all of that stuff.
Right.
And I was in college. I think that was like 2006, 2007.
Okay.
So
and you did 1 year?
I did 1 year of college because I said, I can't sit idly by and watch this church not move into its full potential.
Yep,
you know,
yep,
I think it's a heartbreak. So I got out of there. And I don't miss anybody there because I made only enemies. So it wasn't even worth it to be there. I didn't like people there. I didn't like what they were talking about. I disagreed with all of them, and their parties were too loud. So I said, I got to get out of here. This isn't my place. These aren't my people. So I came back. I said, look, I have some cameras. I have an idea. I watch a lot of YouTube, and I think I can make this happen. And since then, they've given me full trust. We got 40 cameras in there. We got the camera looking up. We got a button cam every time he looks in some sort of shiny reflective mirror, so we can see his reflection. Kind of like being John Malkovich style. You know, we can see through his eyes. So it's exciting to show that lens. And we got some in the balcony. We got 15 reaction shots, and that's been really fun to pick who gets to do the reaction shots for every service. We've used YouTube before. It's been really fun.
And so you've got camera operators, but you're the one who's actually like switching.
I'm switching.
Okay.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because that's a real fugue state for me. It's so instinctual. It's camera 1, camera 2, camera 3, 4, 4, ready 4, ready 5, ready 6, ready button cam. Some of them have numbers, and then some of them are specifically regional.
And now a lot of people don't know this. We have a camera that's actually, you know, on you in the booth, and it's almost like the organ cam that they have at Wrigley Field or something, where, you know, so we get to see you during the live stream pulling the levers and the buttons, and it is, I mean, I think a lot of people tune in just to see you switch the cameras.
I think that drone shot you have where the drone follows the offering plate is so moving.
I'm glad you noticed that. Thank you.
I think it is very cool. I mean, I've seen people swatting, you know, in front of them as they're, you know, sort of startled as it passes by, but you're trying to really create I wanted to bring this up with you actually, because I know that Steve always encourages people to be in person on campus on our weekend services. It's best to be together, to be in community, to be in person. I know that our offering, you know, portion of the service is very important because we got to keep the lights on, you know,
of course,
and we got the Brinks guy outside waiting for the hall, so to speak. And if people aren't here on campus, then, you know, they're streaming the service, they're getting it for free. You know, we know, as podcasting has taught us, if somebody can get something for free, they sure ain't going to pay for it. But I think it's so cool what you have done, where you've started having all those scan this code now for a relationship with Jesus, scan this code for donating to the offering plate, and that you've created a virtual offering where people can just scan it right off the screen with their phones. I think this technology is outstanding.
Right. And
thank you. It's important.
And how do you do that if you're watching on your phone? How do you scan the QR code if you're on your phone, especially
We're
if you're
still
in one
trying
of
to
these...
figure that out, right? So I think right now it's been difficult for the two screens. You know, there's a barrier for entry where you can watch or you can donate. And if you're not watching, you can't donate. And if you don't donate, then why are you watching?
Yeah, you can't watch, yeah.
it's been a double-edged sword where I usually say grab your phones and watch the show, you know, right in my announcement. Keep your phone nearby, but keep it on do not disturb, because we don't want to be disturbed in the service. And then I say, it's time for the phones. So I've been doing a little editorial voiceover kind of intro. I got some cousins that watch the show Arrested Development, which I've seen a couple of clips of that. And there's a man on there, and he talks every now and then where he goes like, you know, someone goes like, I'm going to the store. And he goes, he did not go to the store. So I do that sometimes to Pastor Steve, just for fun and give inside voices for the people that are watching, because it's a special experience. Yeah. They're liking me. I see them in the chat. They like when I do it. I'm a little addicted to it. It's that voice of God thing. We talked about it a little bit.
Yep.
It's a little difficult.
It is like you've really created and cultivated an online experience like no other, because I have tuned into other churches' live streams, and it's going to be wide shot,
boring,
close up, 2 shot, 2 shot, 1 shot. Not you. I mean, it is like being inside, and one day, hopefully, when we progress to VI, maybe this will even be better, because I think it'll just seem like you won't even know the reality that you're in, other than it's an amazing church.
Exactly, and we're talking about eyes of God. I have that eye of God shot. We have a camera.
Yes.
We have it above the church. On the tallest telephone pole, and it's just an outdoor shot of the church, and that's even exciting to see. If there's a lot of noise and ruckus, what's it like over there?
Yes.
And I love, Hallie, that you brought up the drone for the communion, because, or for the offering, because we, of course, had to shift to drone after the jib was knocking into people.
Yeah,
and we had that huge crane.
That was a tragedy with the crane.
That was hubris,
and
I'm going to miss all those people that we killed. It was just a brutal, brutal day. I miss them every single day.
But you know what? They arrived at the gates of heaven just like that, and they're better off than we are now. So you might have done them a favor, honestly.
And I don't think, and I just want to make sure you are given this shout out, which is, yes, a crane fell, but no one has ever actually passed away here on campus. They were taken off campus.
That's right.
And also, we don't know what that ambulance ride was like, do we?
We don't know.
We don't know what kind of attention they were getting.
We don't know. We do know how bumpy that road is that, past our church, how undeveloped the road from the town. Indiana needs to step forward and start helping us with those bumpy roads. Our roads are clean and smooth. We work on that.
That's right. Yeah.
So that's something I'm worried about.
I just want to give you a shout out, which is, yes, we had a crane. Yes, the crane did fall. Yes, we were trying to get the perfect shot of the offering plate going by. But people got in the way, and they were told, don't get in the way. And this is a swinging crane shot.
Well, we had safety meetings before every service. Yeah. We had a huge safety meeting.
That's right.
And no one was paying attention.
Yeah.
It's always the way. It's like the beginning of the flight when the flight attendants are trying to show you how to suck out of the airbag. But I want to give you a shout out too, Peter, because speaking of communion, I think the communion cam that you got going it's like the kissing cam at a Pacers game, but better, because we get to see these awesome godly couples
reacting
mid-communion, partaking of the sacrament. Some of them are feeding each other like bride and groom.
I love it when the guy always takes it from the lady and eats it. It's
really
funny
fun.
like that.
Or
it's really funny stuff. And we do pre-interviews for those people, and we always pick them
right?
Oh, you do?
We do. We
wondered.
make sure that we get the right talent that we're filming. It's just important. We do have that little tiny camera on the goblet itself, which is so fun to watch go into people's mouths.
It's a weird point of view, isn't it? It's a weird point of view. You feel like you're about to be swallowed by one of those sandworms in Dune or something.
It reminds me of that great, funny movie, and I was a bit young for this, but In a Space.
I heard about that movie too. I heard about that movie really well.
The guy gets small and Honey, I
Shrunk
the Kids.
it's the blood of Christ, and it's going through you. So we don't ever think about the blood. We don't think about where the blood's going, and we never have empathy for it. That is our Lord that's going into us. So why don't we see how that feels for it?
Yes.
That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
Well, you've been doing such creative things with the stream. I mean,
I never thought of that. Is it sentient? I mean, does Jesus feel us chewing on his flesh?
I would like to conjecture yes from a camera point of view. The way I feel is yes. And we're trying to work on a camera that can be either edible or reconstructible after being chewed. For the crackers,
for the stream,
for the wafers, for the stream.
Wow.
We don't have the technology there. Hopefully we'll find it. But it's an interesting. We're talking with people that do endoscopies and
cool.
We're talking to some medical people. We've been using some medical equipment, seeing if we could maybe. And this is a little TMI. use a colonoscopy in camera, go in from the other end, come all the way up through the throat, and then we can catch it
coming on down.
Yeah, so we can see it coming down. We can follow. We can track it. We can pull this. We can pull it as it's going down.
Now, when you pick the
about
couples for the communion cam, do you have to coach the men to always miss her mouth and shove it on her face, or do they do that naturally?
Well, here's a secret. So we always walk through the line, kind of like Price is Right. We walk through the line to see who could be good for it, and people come up and say, "I want to be on camera. I want to do the communion," And one of the things we're looking for is natural clumsiness, because if you force clumsiness, it ain't gonna come off like it was an accident. Right. We've seen that. We've seen people pretend to be clumsy, and it just is cringeworthy. And there's certain countries where it's almost an offense, and so we'll lose streams if people think it's fake and forced.
I see.
And we'll lose whole countries. It's just it's just culturally offensive. Yeah. So
interesting.
Wow.
It's fun though.
I think it's these types of creative things, like, when we had a pig roast the other week, you put a helmet cam on the pig that was running around.
That was cool.
That was fun.
Yeah, on the pig before we roasted it, I put on the living pig.
That's right. And when Steve did the whole sermon about Jesus casting the demons out of the pig, we got to see the pig run from stage right to the barbecue, and I thought that was fun. I'm glad you cut before it got a bit, but I'm glad you cut once we heard the pig, make that
Well, you had to get the camera off before the fire started. You don't want to burn your camera up.
So that was a burnable camera.
It was it tried to be, but it isn't there yet either. There's burn-free jackets we can put on it, but sometimes it's still the heat gets through. There's so many. We're pushing the form, and it's so exciting.
So did you really feel called to this work? I mean, how did you, as a kid, were you always like putting cameras on stuff?
I wasn't putting cameras on stuff, but I was always running around and looking at things from different angles. When I was watching a movie, I'd say, "Oh, watch the front row. Oh, go to the back row. Oh, go to the side. Oh, go watch from the." They used to have my picture up at the movie theater. So don't let this kid in the projection booth. That's the kind of stuff that used to. Because I'd love to just see it from up there. And so when I realized I could let other people in to my point of view, what would a bug think of this? What would an elephant think of this? What are they seeing from an airplane? I just can't stop thinking about stuff like that.
Wow.
And it's been amazing to be given this amount of absolute power to let other people see exactly what I was hoping I'd be able to see.
Well, have you ever considered a baptism can, a submergible camera, or would it be too much like a dirty wet T-shirt contest?
Oh, no, I've thought about that. We had a camera in the bottom of the booth, bottom of the tub.
Baptismal, yeah.
The baptismal, yeah. Sorry, I only know camera terms. We had it on the bottom of the tub, and it was just jarring. And it was a little, it reminded me of there's just a lot of stuff happening with ocean cameras lately too, with that Ocean Gate, God forbid, God rest. And we didn't want people to be hearkening to that. Like, are these people in, it's hard to, a baptism from above is so nice and peaceful. It looks harrowing and scary from a camera below. It looks like the movie Jaws, because you can't shake that. Jaws did something for sharks, but it did another thing for baptisms, because you can't kind of effortlessly look like you're enjoying being submerged. It's just hard to do.
And the way Steve does it, I mean, if you are getting baptized by Steve, which is rare, but he likes to do a firm count. He'll do a hold.
He holds you down there.
And I think he wants you to remind people this is a huge decision.
You're dying
making.
to the flesh.
Yeah, exactly. And something I've seen that other people haven't seen because of this camera is his hand is firm, it doesn't move, and the people below are moving a lot. So it just looks frightening. And it should be. You're starting a new life. You're coming back in
as again.
You're being born again. But people forget how violent birth is, and so you got to remember that. I know.
That's right. That's right. It just shreds the mother down there, and the baby, has to have a soft spot so its skull can move around, just moving through the canal. You're right. It's violent.
It's violent. And I've done my fair share of filming those too.
Is that
really?
right?
And that's just as violent. Yeah.
A live birth.
Live births, yeah. We had a series of Born in the Blood videos that we were going to be doing because we're starting a new streaming service. Twin Hills
through
Digital.
the light web. Oh, okay.
Yeah, through the light web. We're doing a new streaming service, so we're trying to find some new content. We're open for ideas, by the way, if you want to pitch some.
So many ideas.
Oh my gosh! Well, let me hear it. Let me hear it right now.
Oh, I mean, like I've always thought it would be really cool to like do something like, is it a cake or is it, is it somebody like a staff member or a parishioner? Is it a church member or is it a cake?
Something
like that.
We've gotten that pitch. That's great.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah. What else?
Cake member?
Yeah, Caker member is good. What else you got?
Caker member. I thought one would be cool of just like we take people's like boring cars and we like redo them to be like more Christian.
Ooh.
We got that. We've gotten that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's a great idea. We're in development with that with the local auto shop guy. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's a follower. He's a parishioner. So it's going to be really fun to have him. What else you got?
I thought about, how about this one? I mean, this might be a bit beyond you, but, I just thought it would be cool if we had a show about a bunch of people that were in hell, and then they figure out they're actually in heaven.
Okay.
Oh, like The Good Place.
What?
I like that.
On
Yeah, there's a
NBC
TV
with
show.
Ted
You ever seen that?
Danson.
Good Place. It's a Christian Safe show. It's fun.
I've never heard of it.
Well, I'll tell you what. Go check that out, and then come back to me and pitch the idea, and make sure that none of what's in that is in yours.
Yep.
Okay.
And then I'm interested because we're looking for scripted, we're looking for non-scripted, and we're looking for all sorts of stuff. So, Hallie, you got any ideas you want to throw my way?
Well, I was going to say real quick is that, we've been talking about AI. One thing you could do is say, hey, AI, write me a show that's really funny, Christ-centered, that's exactly like The Good Place, but isn't The Good Place. And it can crank it out for you in a matter of seconds.
Okay, I like that.
Why do you like that?
I really like that because AI is interesting to me. I think it's fun, and it's budgetarily it sounds fun, and also I would say AI. What we could maybe call it. Angel Incorporated. What does AI stand for in this world?
Yep.
What about a show with a bunch of people on an island and it's a plane crash and they're all trying to just figure out what the heck is going on.
That's Lost. That's Lost, Gray. And I've heard that. And we're doing a Lost. We're already doing a Lost.
But,
well, you could call it Found.
That's what we're doing.
Well, that was Patrick McDonald playing Peter McDowell. What a delight. Check out his wonderful comedy podcast, Artists on Artists on Artists on Artists, and follow him at Patrick.
And of course, you can leave us a rate and review wherever you listen. That really helps us find new listeners. And if you're feeling led, please join the Patreon. It is the best place to support the podcast, and we're doing lots of fun stuff over there. So come check it out. That link is in the show notes.
I'm Holly Laurent playing Hallie Laban.
And I'm Greg Hess playing Gray Haas.